I confronted ChatGPT on how to train a dog. Just typed in the same kind of questions that owners ask me all the time. How to stop pulling, how to solve reactivity issues, how to teach a reliable recall. Then I sat down, read its answers and gave an honest professional opinion. Is the advice accurate? Is it safe? Is it helpful for someone who has no experience? That's what this video is about. Not gimmicks, not experiments, just a dog trainer going head to head with an AI that's supposedly read every book on behavior. I want to find out if ChatGPT is actually giving advice that works in the real world, or if it's just repeating the same surface level tips that sound good until you try them. So if you're thinking of asking AI how to train your dog, or if you've already tried, it might be worth hearing to what a human trainer has to say about what the algorithm is really suggesting. So let's get into it. I'm going to read each answer and share what I think, not in terms of giving you a full breakdown of how I would solve each issue, because that would turn this video into a seminar, but to evaluate how reliable ChatGPT's advice really is when it comes to dog training. I will point out what makes sense, what's missing, and where things could go very wrong if taken at face value. First up, what's the most important skill in dog training?
The most important skill in dog training is consistency. Here's why consistency matters so much. Dogs learn through repetition and routine. If your commands, rules, or rewards change from day to day, it confuses them. Consistent cues lead to reliable behaviors. Saying sit one day and sit down the next can muddle your dog's understanding. Consistent timing reinforces learning. Rewards, or corrections, must be immediate and consistent to be effective. That said, some other key skills that support consistency are patience. Dogs learn at different paces. Clear communication. Tone, body language, and verbal cues all matter. Positive reinforcement. Rewarding good behavior is more effective than punishing bad behavior. Observation. Noticing subtle signs of stress, distraction, or progress helps you adapt your approach. What kind of training are you doing? Basic obedience, behavior correction, something else?
If I had to choose a single most important skill in dog training, I would probably hesitate, because the truth is, it always depends on the situation. The challenges of teaching basic obedience to a puppy are completely different from managing reactivity in an adult dog or working on off-leash reliability. But if someone forced me to pick one core skill that applies across the board, I would say ChatGPT actually got this one right. Consistency is absolutely foundational. Without it, no method works. Whether you're using food, leash pressure, play, or just your voice, dogs learn by association. And so, if those associations change every day, progress crumbles. Consistency isn't just about repeating the same command word. It's about structure, timing, clarity. It's about making your communication predictable enough that the dog can build confidence in what's expected. It's also one of the things most owners struggle with, not because they don't care, but because life gets in the way. So while I wouldn't call it the most important skill in every context, I would definitely say it's a non-negotiable in any training process. Solid start AI. Let's move on with one of the most common struggles for dog owners, which is how do you teach a dog to walk on a leash without pulling?
Teaching your dog to walk on a leash without pulling is one of the most useful and sanity-saving things you can do. Here's a step-by-step guide to help you out. Step-by-step, loose leash walking. 1. Start in a low distraction area. Begin indoors or in a quiet backyard so your dog can focus. 2. Pick a side. Choose whether your dog will walk on your left or right side. Consistency is key. 3. Use high-value treats. Small, soft, and extra tasty treats work best. Keep them in a pouch or pocket within reach. 4th, reward position. Hold the leash loosely. When your dog walks beside you, not ahead, mark it with a word like yes or a clicker and give a treat. Keep rewarding every few steps at first. 5. If they pull, stop. As soon as the leash gets tight, stop walking. Wait for them to turn back or loosen the leash, then reward and continue. Don't yank or drag. Let your dog figure it out. 6. Use the let's go or heel cue. Say it as you move forward. Reward them for following calmly. 7. Change directions. Often. This keeps your dog focused on you. If they pull ahead, turn around and go the opposite way. Reward when they catch up and walk nicely. 8. Practice short sessions. 5 to 10 minutes at a time, a few times a day. Quality beats quantity here. Extra tips. No retractable leashes during training. They encourage pulling. Front clip harnesses or head halters can help give you more control while you teach. Stay patient, especially with high energy or young dogs. Want a sample training schedule or gear recommendations based on your dog's breed or size?
So here we're already seeing a pattern. ChatGPT leans heavily into the positive-only framework. It builds its response entirely on positive reinforcement and negative punishment, mainly stopping the walk when the dog pulls. Now, there is certainly a version of this approach that can work. If you consistently stop when the leash tightens and reward the dog for reconnecting with you, you can absolutely see progress, especially with calmer or more food-driven individuals. The problem is that progress often comes at a steep cost. It can take a huge number of sessions to make meaningful gains, and the moment you remove food from the equation, many dogs just go back to pulling. In real-world scenarios, with all the distractions of the environment, especially with reactive, intense or high-driven dogs, this method fails in a large percentage of cases. Food often doesn't compete with the reinforcers outside, and when that happens, the handler is left without leverage. Now let's proceed with another classic issue, which owners have especially in busy areas or parks, which is how do you stop a dog from picking up food or garbage off the ground?
The classic street snacking problem. Teaching your dog not to pick up food off the ground takes some solid impulse control training, but it's absolutely doable. Here's how to stop it. Step by step, train a solid Leave It Command 1. Start indoors with a treat in your hand. Hold a treat in your closed fist. Present it to your dog and say, "Leave it." Your dog will sniff, paw, maybe even lick. Wait them out. The moment they back off, mark it. Say yes, or use a clicker. And reward them with a different treat from your other hand. Never reward with the one you told them to leave. 2. Progress to treat on the floor, covered. Place a treat under your foot or hand. Say, "Leave it." When they back off, reward with a different treat. Once they get good, start uncovering it slightly. 3. Add duration. Gradually increase how long they have to ignore the treat before getting a reward. 4. Take it outside practice. On leash in your yard or sidewalk with low distractions. Drop treats or safe items near you while walking and use Leave It. Reward big time when they ignore it. Reinforce while walking. Be proactive. If you see something sketchy ahead, say, "Leave it" early. Use a watch me or look cue to redirect their focus to your face. Reward them for staying connected with you instead of scanning for snacks. Bonus tips. Stay consistent. Everyone in the household should enforce the same rules. Avoid giving dropped food at home. It blurs the boundary. Use a muzzle, basket style, as a safety tool only if needed for chronic scavengers, especially if there's risk of poisoning. But combine it with training, not as a substitute. Want help choosing the right high distraction practice level for your pup? Or a game plan for impulse control in general?
This is where things start to fall apart. In my opinion, this is the weakest answer so far, and also the most concerning. Teaching a dog not to pick up food from the ground isn't just a matter of good manners. In some cases, it's literally a life or death issue. Poisoned bait exists, unsafe scraps exist, and unfortunately, the approach ChatGPT recommends here, teaching a leave it cue using only positive reinforcement and negative punishment, might work in a sterile, controlled environment. But once you step outside into the unpredictability of the real world, that cue tends to evaporate. The vast majority of dogs will ignore it the moment the stakes change, especially if they know that there are no consequences for disobeying. And that's the problem. The AI seems to assume a perfect scenario where the dog will always respond simply because it was rewarded for doing so in the past. But behavior doesn't generalize that easily. especially when the reinforcer on the ground is more powerful than the one in your treat pouch. What's worse is that ChatGPT puts the entire burden on the human to catch the dog before it acts, as if we are supposed to be scanning every inch of the sidewalk for hazards, while also managing leash handling, traffic, and everything else. In reality, the dog needs to learn that picking up food on a walk is simply not an option, whether someone's watching or not. And for that kind of reliability, especially off-leash or in high-pressure situations, a well-timed correction is often the only way to make the behavior stop. Not out of harshness, but out of necessity. This isn't about training philosophy, it's about keeping dogs alive. Now let's raise the stakes a bit. One of the toughest challenges for dog owners, and also one of the most emotionally charged ones, is leash reactivity.
Leash reactivity toward other dogs is super common, and you're not alone. It's often a mix of frustration, fear, excitement, or all three at once. The good news? You can absolutely improve it with the right approach. Here's a structured way to work through it. Why it happens. Frustration, wants to greet but is held back. Fear, anxiety, trying to create space. Learned behavior, reacting equals dogs go away, so it works. Step-by-step plan, reactivity, rehab. 1. Create distance. Start far enough away from other dogs where your dog notices but doesn't react. That's your threshold. It's where learning can actually happen. 2. Use high-value rewards. Have your dog's favorite treats, like cheese or chicken, ready? Reward anytime they look calmly at the other dog. Look back at you, jackpot moment. Stay quiet and non-reactive. This builds a positive association with seeing other dogs. 3. Train an auto. Look at me. Practice this at home, and then outside without distractions. Reward every time they look at you instead of reacting. Eventually, seeing a dog. Look at my human, get reward. 4. Teach turn and go. When a dog appears suddenly, say a cue like, let's go, and calmly move away in a U-turn. Reward when they come with you. This avoids escalation and teaches disengagement. 5. Use the environment. Parked cars, bushes, or trees can help block visual contact. Cross the street if needed, no shame in that game. 6. Consistency is key practice, a few times a week in controlled setups before hitting busy areas. Helpful tools: front clip harness, more control, less pulling, long line in open spaces, helps with practicing distance while not being super restrictive. Muzzle, optional, only if safety is a concern, and always muzzle train positively. What not to do? Don't punish or yank the leash. This can increase fear or frustration. Don't force your dog to face their fears by walking closer. Flooding equals overload. Want help planning real-world setups or mock scenarios to practice? I can also help build a step-by-step desensitization game plan tailored to your dog's reactions. What kind of dog do you have, and how intense is the reactivity? Barking, lunging, just stiffening up?
I asked ChatGPT, how do you solve it when a dog reacts unpleasantly to other dogs during walks? And once again, ChatGPT takes the positive-only route. And while there are a few things it gets right, there's a serious gap between theory and real-life application. I appreciate that it acknowledges the different emotional roots of reactivity, frustration, fear, and excitement, and that it emphasizes the importance of distance, thresholds, and consistency. Those are foundational concepts, and it's good to see them included, but where the answer falls short is in its actual handling of the behavior. Because when a dog is truly reactive, especially in higher states of arousal, treats often lose all value. At that point, the behavior in itself is reinforcing. Lunging, barking, and growling either feel good, relieve pressure, or make the trigger go away. And if there's no consequence for that reaction, it sticks around forever. Counter-conditioning can work, yes, but mostly in lower intensity cases, or as a supplementary strategy. But when you are dealing with genuine, explosive leash reactivity, you're going to need more than just redirection and cheese. What the AI misses is the importance of clear boundaries, of teaching the dog that certain behaviors are not just ignored but actively discouraged. That means introducing fair, well-timed corrections that make it clear that behavior isn't acceptable. Without that, the dog often stays in a reactive loop indefinitely, because there's nothing pushing against the payoff of that burst. So again, the theory sounds good, but in practice, it's not enough. Now let's shift to another big one. I asked ChatGPT how to teach a dog the recall efficiently.
Ah, the selective hearing recall, where your dog suddenly becomes a squirrel-chasing, freedom-loving philosopher the moment you call them totally common but fixable. Here's why dogs ignore recall and how to turn it around. Why your dog ignores recall. The world is more exciting than you. Squirrels, smells, other dogs. They might just outshine your voice if there's no real motivation to come back. You accidentally made come a negative thing. If recall means fun is over, bath time, or we're leaving the park. Your dog might think, nah, I'm good. You haven't trained it enough in distractions. Just because your dog comes indoors doesn't mean they'll do it at the park with 5 other dogs around. You're not rewarding it enough. If recall gets a dry, good dog, while running off gets a sniff party, guess which one they'll pick? How to fix it? Build a rock-solid recall one. Use a new happy cue. If come is already poisoned, try a fresh word like here or let's go. Say it in a high, happy tone, not like you're mad. 2. Practice recall as a game run. Away from your dog when you call them. They love to chase. Make it a game of tag, where you're the one they want to catch. 3. Reward like you mean it. Use jackpot treats, chicken, hot dogs, liver, whatever your dog loses their mind for. Also use toys, praise, play, whatever makes their tail wag. 4. Recall during play. Randomly call your dog, then let them go back to play after a reward. This teaches them coming to you doesn't always end the fun. 5. Use a long line for safety and practice. Let them roam, then recall and reward. Gently guide if needed, but never yank. 6. Build distance and distraction. Gradually start indoors, then backyard, then quiet park, then busier places. Always reward, always celebrate. Don't do this. Never call your dog only to do something they hate, e.g., nail trim, crate, punishment. Don't repeat the cue 10 times. It teaches them to ignore the first 9. Never punish if they come late. Late is better than not at all. Want a step-by-step training plan to build up your dog's recall from scratch? Or tips for games that make come irresistible? Let me know your dog's name and favorite motivator, and I'll help tailor it.
This is actually one of the strongest responses from AI so far, and I think there's a reason for that. It's a command that fundamentally does rely on positive reinforcement alone, no matter what method you use. The AI points out a few critical things that are often overlooked by dog owners, like the importance of not making the recall signal the end of fun, and the value of activating the dog's natural prey drive through games and movement. Those are solid insights, but even with all of that, the success of a recall still hinges on one big factor: motivation. If you're more interesting than the environment, the dog will come. If you're not, the dog won't. That's the game. So when you teach recall this way, your job isn't just to give the cue, it's to manage your dog's desire, to position yourself as the most rewarding option in any context. And that's where it gets tricky. Because as the distractions increase, the likelihood of failure skyrockets unless the dog is highly responsive and well conditioned. Which brings us to the only reliable alternative for total off-leash recall in every situation, the e-collar. And I say that carefully, because I don't think most average owners are ready to use it correctly. But in skilled hands with proper timing and structure, it's the only way to create true reliability through layered accountability. So yes, the AI did well here, but it's still operating in a space where success is conditional on the environment. So for the final question, let's wrap things up on a lighter note. I simply asked AI, what's the best activity to do with my dog?
Love that question. It shows you're really tuned into building a stronger bond. The best activity to embrace with your dog depends a bit on your dog's personality, energy level, and what you enjoy too. But here are some top-tier bond-building options for different vibes. 1. Hiking, nature walks. Best for adventurous dogs, medium to high energy. Why it's awesome? Stimulates body and brain with all the smells, sounds, and terrain. Great bonding through shared exploration. Bonus, helps reduce leash reactivity over time too. 2. Training games and trick work. Best for all dogs, even chill or older pups. Why it's awesome? Builds communication and trust. Tricks like spin, high five, or go to your mat are fun and mentally enriching. Plus, it makes your dog love paying attention to you. 3. Nose work, scent games. Best for sniffers, thinkers, anxious or reactive dogs. Why it's awesome? Dogs live for scent. Hide treats or toys around the house or yard and let them find them. Builds confidence, focus, and calms nervous pups. 4. Fetch, tug, or flirt pole. Play best for high drive, play-motivated dogs. Why it's awesome? Great outlet for energy, and interactive play builds your bond. Tug can even improve impulse control when paired with drop-it cues. 5. Cuddle and calm. Time best for low energy or senior dogs, rescue pups, or after big activity. Why it's awesome? Laying together, gentle petting, massage, or even dog yoga, yes, it's a thing, fosters deep trust and calm. 6. Try a dog sport or activity class. Best for dogs who like challenges and teamwork. Agility canine freestyle, dog dancing, rally obedience, dock diving tri-ball. Why it's awesome? It's a whole shared hobby. Plus, working through new challenges together deepens connection. Want me to recommend something based on your dog's breed, energy, or quirks? I'd love to help you two find your thing.
This answer isn't bad, and it actually ends on a strong note. I like that ChatGPT frames the question around bonding and mutual enjoyment, because that's really what matters most. When both the dog and the human are engaged, the activity becomes more than just a task. It becomes shared time, and that's where connection grows. That said, there's a key piece missing from this answer, and it's not a small one: the role of a dog's genetic predispositions. You can't talk about finding the best activity without first understanding what the dog was bred to do. Breed matters, not in a superficial way, but in terms of drives, instincts, and behavioral tendencies. If you've got a herding dog, scent work might be fine, but movement-based games and task-oriented activities are likely to fulfill him much more deeply. If you've got a retriever, denying him the chance to carry and fetch would be ignoring what he is built for. So yes, personality and energy level are relevant, but they are shaped by something deeper: genetics. That's the lens ChatGPT didn't include, and it's the one that gives your choice true direction. That said, the general suggestions like hikes, trick training, and structured games are all solid. And I especially agree with promoting dog sports. Not because they are flashy, but because they create teamwork. They give structure to fun. And when fun has structure, both the dog and the human thrive. So what can we learn from all of this? Well, when it comes down to the everyday dog training tasks that don't require any form of correction, like teaching new tricks or building engagement, ChatGPT can actually be a useful tool for the average dog owner. It gives structure, easy to follow steps, and for many dogs in low distraction environments, that's enough to get started. But the real problem shows up when we move into behaviors that carry weight. Behaviors that can be very dangerous for people or dogs. Things like picking up food from the ground or reacting aggressively on leash can't be solved with treats alone, and AI simply isn't equipped to offer balanced solutions in those situations. That's where real experience matters. Owners need to be extremely careful about relying on advice that's been taken from the surface of the internet, especially when that advice ignores consequences, context, and the individuality of the dog. So yes, get help from ChatGPT if you need to teach your dog to spin or to stay. But when things get serious, make sure to get help from a professional that has actually been in the field. And if you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe so that I can catch you in the next one.